o'clock. No, yeah, about 10 o'clock.
Which way was I going?
You were going west. I was going to my grandson's baseball game. I thought you were headed there also.
Went to play golf. I
Ah,
I had a bris.
it's about time.
I went to a bris
Oh,
earlier, and so I only played 9 holes. So the 10:30 was my tee time for this second half.
gorgeous day, wasn't it? Beautiful.
Yeah, a little windy.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, up in Mountain Gate it was windy.
Uh-huh. Did you stop at the 13th at the 19th hole and have a drink?
I don't.
Okay.
There is a 19th hole, and
Have a drink.
plenty of people are drinking there.
Yeah.
If you get a hole in one, you buy you buy everybody a drink.
You pay?
You pay.
Oh my, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I once came this close.
Oh, really? Oh
It was that far away from the hole.
How about the other guys?
I think Marty's had a hole in one.
Yeah.
I don't know about Walter. But on hole number 6 at Lake, I was this close.
Wow. It's a good feeling, huh?
It almost went in, so. Okay.
131.
Correct. Kuf Lamed Aleph. Boy Rava, Bebori Hech. We've been talking about a person on his deathbed, a Shchivmara, who says, I'm gonna either give a gift to some, or I want the Yerusha to be a different thing. What about a healthy person? Kikom Rav Yochanan Broika. Rav Yochanan Broika said it works if he transfers the Yerusha over to somebody who normally would be Moirishim. But maybe Rav Yochanan Broika only says that B'shchiv Mara. Debar Oirusuhu. He's about to die. It's known that he's going to distribute his Yerusha. And maybe for him, the pasuk says biyom and chilo esbana, that then he can give it out to anybody who he wants. Aval bebori, maybe lo. Odil mafil bebori now. Maybe it works by a healthy person too. Amle Rav Mishash and Rav Toshma. Amle Rav Nosson Rebbe. Shnita Mishnaslam Rav Yochanan Broika. You have written your Mishnah like Rav Yochanan. Does not. Lo kosov law in writing a ksuba. If a husband did not write in the ksuba, benin dichrin, he says any male children, that I'm going to have from you. In yarsin kesef ksubasach yosrach chulukendim achvasei. If he has multiple wives, the ksuba is worth $100,000, and he has 2 sons from one wife and 2 sons from another wife. So in the ksuba of the new wife, he says, if she dies and the husband inherits the wife's ksuba, then when he dies, that money is given over to the male children of that wife, and they don't share it with the other brothers. That's called ksuvas nindichrit. Now, let's say it's not written in the ksuba. Let's say the sofer leaves it out. He's still chayiv. Even if it was left out, Tanai Bezdinu. This is a takana that Bezdin did, whether it's written or not written. So it seems to be the same din that Rav Yochanan Broika, the father is allowed to give a certain Yerusha to one of his brothers over another brother. V'amarlo Rebbe, we don't use the word yarsun Inun Yarsun Kesef Ksubas, what's the language of Yerusha? We say Yizbon. I'm going to gift it to them tonight. It's a lashon of matana. That father can do that and give more or less to one brother, but only as a matana, but not as Yerusha. Amar Rebbe, Yaldus Haisubi. This was craziness of my youth. They asked Ipone Benosna Bavli. And I said something that wasn't correct. Why? Ela de Kaimelon, Binin Dichrin Lo Tarfim Mishubodi. This, what we talked about, the ksuba that gets to go to these male children of the wife, if the husband has sold off land to somebody else, they can't take it. You don't collect it from Mishubodim, only from Metaltalim. However, if it was gifted to them, they should be able to get it, even if it was sold, because if it was a star matana, it's like, as if it's given to them the moment it was written. It must be that it doesn't say Yizbun, it says Yarsun. It's not that it's gifted, it's like Yerusha, after his death. And since the father sold a piece of land, the brothers can't get it. And man sham islay the islay haisvara. Whose svara is it that a father can give the Yerusha to whoever he wants? Rav Yochanan ben Broika. Shema mina filu bebori. It doesn't have to be a shriv mara. A ksuba is written by every healthy husband, not just when he's a shriv mara. Armalei Rav Papa Labaya. How can you prove from the fact that the Mishnah says Yarsun, which means a Yerusha, that this proves that this is the Shita of Yochanan ben Broika? Bein Lamanda Omer Yizbut, Bein Lamanda Omer Yarsun. Whether it says he's gifting it to them or it's giving to them as a Yerusha, these children haven't been born yet. And in order mak the davar shelo ba'al, you can't make a kinyan to an entity that's not existing yet. And I feel Rav Meir adam mak the davar shelo ba'al, but let's say you want to be maked to some fruit that's going to grow 6 months from now, but you're being makneh to a live person. Hanimili le davar sheyesh lebon. That's you're gifting future products to somebody who exists. But to these sons that aren't born yet, at the time you write a ksuba, there's no sons. Lo, Ella, Tanai Bezdin shiny. The fact that there's a takon of Bezdin. It works even though it's not written in the language of Matana. Chanami Tanai Bezdin. And even according to Chachamim, not Rav Yochanan ben Broika, who holds that a father has no right to be moirish one of the brothers over another, here at least by the Ksuvim T'Tichron, they made a takana that he can do it. But it's no proof that our Mishnah is according to Rav Yochanan ben Broika. Amar lei, so Abaye said to Rav Papa, if you're going to say it's based on Tanai Bezdin, Mishum Kamafitz B'Lashon Yarso. He still used the language of Yerusha. And if you don't use Matana, and you use Yerusha and it works, it seems to imply that a father can give to Yerusha to one of the sons more than the other, like Rav Yochanan ben Broika. So Hadav Rabbi Lav Milsida Amri, Abai went back and said, what I said is not correct. Because even according to Chachamim who argued with Rav Yochanan ben Broika, we understand why they might use the word Yarsun, Disnan, Lo Kosovla, if he didn't write in the Ksuba, Benon Nukvin Diavin Lechi Minoi, any daughters, in the Ksuba it's written, any daughters that you're going to have from me, Yavin Yasrum Lebesi, they can stay in my house, V'yitzanim in the they can be given mizonos by my estate until they get married. Even though it's not written chayiv. He has to pay it, shoot nai bezdin. So there's two tnoim in Bezdin, in the Ksuba. One for the sons, one for the daughters. And therefore, it's like, it's like the cases we had a few days ago, where he gave to one guy a gift and another guy be Yerusha. We said that doesn't work. That at least the matana will work. The Yerusha part doesn't, but the matana does. And other people say, V'is the Omer of Chananya bar Manyumi Labai. Mimai de Bechad Beidina Iskin. How do we know that these two Tanoim, the B'nai Dichrin and the B'nai Nikvin, were made in the same Bezdin? They might betray Beidina Iskin. Maybe it came out of two Bezdin. And therefore the Yerush and the Matana comes from two different Tanoim. You can't use this pshat of Lezeh or Lezeh. So the Gemara says, Lo Sakita. That doesn't make any sense. Diktoni Reisha. It says in Masech Ksubis, Zeh Midrash Daf Rav Lezer ben Zayv Chachamim Bekerem B'Yavne. In the various Tanoim in the Ksuba. Shabanim Yirshu, that the male children of the wife inherit the Ksuba of their mother. Vabonis Yizonu. And the daughters get Mizonos until they get married. And we make a limud. Ma bani made in Yorshin el la'achra misas avian. The sons of the wife do not inherit their mother's ksuba until after the father's death. Av bonus le'izonu el la'achra misas avian. So we're talking about that when a father dies and leaves over an estate to the Yisomim have to provide for the daughters after his death. So if these two takanas were made in one bizdin, that makes sense. You learn one takana from the other. These came out of two bezdinim in different periods of time. How was one learned from the other? So the Gemara doesn't accept that. This could have come out of two bezdinim. The later bezdin made a takana similar to the initial bezdin. So they wouldn't be contradictory to each other. If there's a guy in his deathbed, who gives all of his assets to his wife, doesn't mean he's giving her the money. He's making her the executor over the estate. He didn't want to give all his money and take it away from his yorshim. It's meant to appoint her the executor. Upshita, if he does the same thing, if he says, I want to give all my assets Lebno Agadol to his oldest son, it also doesn't mean that he's giving him all the assets. It means he's appointing him the executor. But what about if he writes, a Shchima writes Libno Akotanmai, he writes all of his assets to his youngest son. Maybe also he wants to appoint him the executor. But maybe we can say, what kind of father is going to appoint the youngest son to be executor? Maybe here, in this case, he's actually gifting him all the money. Itmar Rav Chaniloi Baridi Amar Shmuel. Afil Ibn Akotan Amutul Barisa. He's not, even if it's an infant in a crib, doesn't mean to give all the assets to the infant. The father is trying to make the infant the executor. Similarly, Pshita Libnova Acher, if he wrote all of his assets to his son and to somebody else, he means La'acher, he's giving half of his assets, Ubno, to make him the executor on the other half. You'd have to divide it with other brothers if there are. If he wrote it Li'ishto Va'acher, he wrote his assets to his wife and to Chaim Yankel. So La'acher, to Chaim Yankel, he's giving half of his assets b'matona, as a gift. V'ishto apotropos, and he's appointing his wife the executor on the other half. liishto arusa or the ishto grusha, if he wrote as a shchiva all of his assets to the woman that he had given kiddushin, but he hadn't done the suin yet, or to a wife that he divorced, so bimatana, that's a gift. There's no executor. So iboilahu. Lebas eitz labanim. What if he gifted in the document to his daughter among the sons? Or isha eitz la'achim. He only had brothers and he had a wife, and he gives all of his things to his wife, not to the brothers, who normally would inherit him. Or isha eitz labnei abal. You have a wife, and then he has sons that are not from that wife. Mao. Do we look at it as a matana or as an executive? Amar Ravina Mishmei Rava, Bekulu, in all these last cases, loikon. He's not giving her the money. He made her an executor, except for the case, Labar Me'ishta Rusa Vishta Grusa, except for the case of the woman that he gave him kiddushin to, or a divorced wife. That would be a matana. But Ravavira Mishmei Rava, Bekulakani, he is giving a gift. Except if there were brothers of his or sons of his, then he's giving it. Except in those last cases, he's making her the executive. Okay, very good.
Tomorrow, 8.